What's up guys, Duarte here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk about the best T4s for the Ravagers. This is going to be based on this infographic that I made, and it's available on my Discord, and it's for the Ravagers team, and it's based on the Ravagers being used in Alliance Wars. This team has a lot of nuances, like is the team used in Alliance Wars, is the team used outside of Alliance Wars. Does a character as this specific T4, does this character as this specific ISO 8? There are a lot of nuances in these recommendations, and I'm going to be honest, I don't like to invest in minions. I think that you don't get as much enjoyment in them as you get using other characters, since you have less abilities and they still require the same amount of investment as other characters. So it's up to you if you want to use this team and if you want to invest in this team or not. They can, not in a consistent way, beat the Infinity Watch in Alliance Wars defense, so it's up to you to decide if it's worth for you or not. Once again, you are investing in minions that have less abilities than the other characters, requires the same amount of investment as any other character, and yes, they beat Infinity Watch, but once again is inconsistent, and I'm gonna be honest, I rarely find an Infinity Watch on Alliance Wars defense. This team is once again for Alliance Wars offense, and when there will be any situation where there is a specific outside of Alliance Wars benefit, I'm definitely going to mention. So with that out of the way, let's get started, and we are going to talk about Star-Lord T'Challa. And when you do the T4 on this guy, on the basic, you are increasing the damage by 70% on the first attack and on the second attack that he does with the basic. Now Star-Lord T'Challa gives himself offense up, and he has one of the highest base damage in the game right now, so this is going to be a huge burst. If you are in Alliance Wars and if you have Ravager Boomer as a skirmisher with the T4 on the passive, and you have this guy as a striker with the other characters also as a striker, this is going to be insane damage output. But outside of Alliance Wars, and if you are not using this guy as a striker, then this T4 has a lot less value. So in the first situation in Alliance Wars, I gave it a 3 stars out of 5, but outside of Alliance Wars it just has a 1 star out of 5, so keep that in mind. Okay, now let's talk about the special. The special is a very strong ability. Once again, it increases the damage on the primary target by a nice amount. It becomes a 40% burst damage, which is great. And then if the target has blind, you are able to steal up to 2 energy from that target. Now the ability itself applies blind to the enemy before it steals the energy, so it works together. Now the thing is that this ability costs 6 energy and comes full. If you use the ability, you will recover 2 of the energy of the 6, and that will put this ability on a 4 energy cooldown, which is very strong. You are doing the insane burst damage, you are also applying the blind, and you are stealing the 2 energy that you can use also on the other abilities, which is great. So based on all these, I gave this ability a 4 stars out of 5, especially because it's so convenient to use outside of Alliance Wars in the Doom raids and also in Dark Dimension. Okay, so now we have the ultimate. The ultimate costs 6 and comes with 6 energy. When you do the T4, once again you are doing a big burst damage on the primary target, and you are copying all positive effects from adjacent allies up from 3. Now once again, this is very convenient, not only in Alliance Wars but also in Dark Dimension and in the Doom raids. If you have him next to Lady Deathstrike and Kestrel, you'll be able to steal immunity, defense up, speed up, offense up, death proof, dodge, regeneration, so tons of buffs, way more than 3, and this is why it's going to be very important to do the T4 on this guy. And once again, depending on how you use the rotation of the abilities, you might recover the energy of this ability, making it a 5 energy cooldown or maybe a 4, depending on the order you do. and that makes it a lot more powerful. So this is definitely a 4 stars out of 5. Finally, we have the passive for Star-Lord T'Challa, and this once again depends, are you in Alliance Wars or not. If you are not using this team in Alliance Wars, this is a 0 out of 5, you should definitely avoid this T4. But if it's in Alliance Wars, it becomes a 3 stars out of 5, maybe a 4 stars out of 5, because you are increasing the entire team HP by 25%. That's huge amount. But once again, because this is a nuanced T4, if you are in Alliance Wars or not, it really depends if you are going to use this team there or not. So yeah, this is why it has the 2 rates. Once again, if you are not going to use this team in Alliance Wars, definitely skip this T4. Otherwise, it's definitely a good T4 to invest in. One of the mandatory ones. Okay, so now let's take a look at Yondu, and once again, a lot of nuances. Are you going... Yondu is a summoner, so based on the T4s that he has, it's going to increase the value of the T4 of the abilities of the minions that he summons. If you do the T4 on the special, basic and passive, that's also going to increase the value of the minions that you summon. The T4s on the special, basic and passive are also going to increase on those summons that he calls for. Okay, so with this in mind, when you do the T4 on the basic of Yondu, you are increasing his damage on single target by normal 40% normal damage and 5% piercing. So this is not huge. If you have him as a striker, it gives a little bit more damage, but because his summon is on a low cooldown, you are not going to get huge benefits out of this. So this is a 2 stars out of 5. It's okay, mostly because you are using him as a striker, but like I said, it's not a huge benefit, just a little bit more damage, and that's pretty much it. So 1 star, 2 stars, and it's not a good T4 overall. Now in terms of the special, there is another nuance about this T4. When you do the T4, it guarantees that you get 1 Ravager Boomer and 1 Ravager Stitcher. In case you don't do the T4, you can get 2 Boomers or 2 Stitchers. It's up to you to decide if this is better or not. You have 80% chance, so it's not guaranteed that you'll get both of them. It's always good to get more minions, more decoys to absorb damage, and also to activate more abilities. So with this in mind, in case you want to get 1 Boomer, 1 Stitcher, doing the T4, it's very good. It will be available on turn 1 now because of the increase in the energy. And I gave this ability 4 stars out of 5 because we are also affecting the special of the minions that we summon, and that will guarantee that the Boomer that you summon will be able to turn rewind the enemies for additional 10%, which is great. Okay, now you have the ultimate. The ultimate attacks all enemies, and when you do the T4, you are increasing the piercing damage on that attack by 80%, which is quite huge, making it a multiplier of 300% piercing. Quite nice. You also get increase in focus per Ravager ally, but I find this unnecessary. I don't think it's very important. So I gave this T4 2 stars out of 5. It's a nice amount of damage. The extra focus is nice as well, but the clearing positive effects can be quite problematic because this team relies on stealing buffs from the enemies. So if you steal all the buffs and then they have nothing to benefit you, it can be a contradiction in terms of strategy, and therefore, like, the damage is good, the focus is good, but you have to be careful with how many buffs you clear from the enemies. And adding into the passive, this is extremely important because when you T4 the passive, if the enemies have blind, which you don't have many sources of blinds, you just have that ultimate from Star-Lord T'Challa. Based on this, if the enemy has blind, you will copy and clear all positive effects on enemies. Now you have to be careful with this. Once again, it's nice, it sounds good in theory, but if you are clearing way too many effects from the enemies, then you have nothing else to steal. And you also have to be careful with which character you focus on. This activates at the beginning of the turn from Yondu, so if you are focusing on the wrong character, you'll not steal the buffs that you should. This is something that you have to pay attention to. It's very problematic if you are focusing on the wrong character at the end of the turn. So it's a T4 that it might be a little bit hard to get the benefits out of it, and that's why I gave it a 2 stars out of 5. It's nice, but it's very situational. You have to be very careful. It's very complicated to activate, so keep all of that in mind when you decide to invest in this T4. You also get the additional focus, which is nice, but to be honest, I don't think it's necessary. Okay, so now let's speed up. Let's talk about the minions. They only have 3 T4s to talk about. So when you activate the T4 on the boomer, you get an additional damage on the primary target, on the basic, and you always apply slow. In Alliance Wars, this is very convenient because it's going to assist all the time in case you do the T4 on the passive. And this additional damage is quite good. And the fact that you're applying slow to the enemies is also good as well. Plus, if you have this guy as a skirmisher, you have more focus to apply the slow, and you'll activate the striker combo isolate, and the skirmisher also has additional damage when you do the assist. So this T4 becomes quite nice. Is it game changer or anything like that? No, not really. And that's why I gave it a 2 stars out of 5. It's nice to have, but it's not really game changing or anything like that. Now, in terms of the special is a different story. When you do the T4, you increase the damage on the primary target, which is okay, not a great T4 on that regard. The good part is that you are increasing the speed bar that you steal from the enemy, because you are also reducing the speed bar on the enemy. So you reduce the speed bar of the enemy and you increase the Ravager Boomer speed bar. This is very cool, and this T4 it's quite useful. And in many matches you win based on having this T4. It has a low cooldown of only 3 energy, so it's quite good. Not super the best, but quite good. So I gave it a 3 stars out of 5. Okay, so like I mentioned before, the passive of the Boomer is very important, and it completely changes his character in Alliance Wars offense. If you do the T4, there is a 100% chance of assisting on non-Ravager minion. That's very strong if you are using this character in Alliance Wars offense. In case you are not, this T4 is completely useless or almost useless. So in Alliance Wars, it's going to be a 4 stars out of 5. Or maybe a 5 stars out of 5. Let's say it's a 5 stars out of 5 in Alliance Wars, but outside of Alliance Wars is a 1 star out of 5, maybe a 0 out of 5. It's very nuanced, and it's up to you. Like you want to make such a huge investment on this character. Once again, 100% good, but it's up to you to decide if you are going to invest in this team or not. Okay, so now we have the Ravager Bruiser, and when you do the T4 on the basic, and if you have Boomer as a skirmisher, you are increasing the damage of this guy on the basic, and you are also increasing the isolate attack by 100%, very strong. And you are also applying disrupt in case the character you are facing is a protector. Now, there are not that many protectors on Alliance Wars defense. There are a few, but not too many. So it's up to you to see if is it really worth it to apply the disrupt or not. If you are facing Black Order, for example, that's definitely going to be important because they have 2 protectors, but there are not many teams like this. So the damage output, it's nice, but it's up to you to decide if this is going to be good or not. Once again, a lot of nuances. It really depends on the match that you are facing and if you are using this in Alliance Wars or not, because this guy outside of Alliance Wars doesn't have a lot of use, and that's pretty much it. So I gave it a 2 stars out of 5 because of all the nuances involved with this T4. Now we have the special. 2 energy comes full. Apply defense up to self and all Ravager allies for 2 turns, so it's massive. And you also get 10% more healing, making it up to 20% more healing. So huge in terms of mitigation for the entire team, and huge in terms of sustain for this character alone. Is a tank, so the more healing he gets, the better. And because it's on a 2 energy cooldown, this is just massive. And based on all this, I give it a 3 stars out of 5, once again because mostly this character is going to be used in Alliance Wars. Okay, now we have his passive, and the passive is quite good. It works in Alliance Wars and outside of Alliance Wars as well. When you do the T4, you are giving 25% more armor to the entire Ravagers team, which is huge. They already have the defense up, and that's going to make them a lot more tanky, increasing their mitigation, and that's just excellent. So based on that, this is a great T4. It's not super essential, once again because they already have the defense up all the time, but it increases the mitigation for a nice amount, so it's a 3 stars out of 5. The other part on spawn, get defense up and so on, it's not super relevant because you are going to use his special on turn 1, and that already gives defense up for 2 turns, so redundancy. And yeah, we are going to get this T4 based on the armor, not based on the other ability. Finally, we have the Ravager's Teacher, and this character is quite interesting. He does a lot of damage with his basic, and once again, if we have into consideration that Boomer is a skirmisher and we are in Alliance Wars, then the damage of the basic on this guy is going to be very strong. So when you do the T4, you are increasing the damage by 60%, and it's piercing damage, and the isolate attack also does a nice amount of piercing damage. You are also always applying heal block, and that can be quite significant, not only in Alliance Wars but also Dark Dimension and Raids. Guaranteed heal block really stops those very annoying Silver Surfers, and that gives huge value to this ability. So I gave it a 3 stars out of 5. I think it's a very decent ability to have on this character. Now we have the special, and when you do the T4 on the special of this guy, you increase the amount of healing that he does, and it's okay, it's 10% 2 times, so it's nice, I guess. It's not a game changer or anything, it's not like Mary Heal 20% healing or more, so it's nice, but it's not game changer. So I gave it a 1 star out of 5. Yeah, it's nice, but this team has so many regenerations, they have so defense up, armor and so on, that this additional healing is not going to be super important. It's way more important to invest on the other T4s that actually change the outcome of the match, like the T4 on the special of Boomer. And finally we have Ravager's Teacher passive, and when you do the T4 on the passive, we increase the base health of this character alone, only this character, by 5%. It's nice, it's not super important, it's okay, not a game changer, so it's up to you to decide if this is going to be a good T4 or not. You are also applying regeneration for 1 additional turn, which once again is nice as well. He is going to heal for quite a lot because he has so much HP, not only from his passive and from his stats, but also from Star-Lord T'Challa's passive. So yeah, it's nice, especially in Alliance Wars, also useful in Raids and Dark Dimension. It's nice, it's up to you to decide, is it going to be a game changer or not. I gave it a 2 stars out of 5 because I think, once again, it's nice, but it's not going to do much on when you have controlled scenarios like in Dark Dimension, where you have additional healers or that you have additional characters giving support. It's nice, but if you are doing over healing, the effectiveness of this T4 is quite low. So yeah guys, that's going to be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my T4 suggestions, recommendations for the Ravagers. As you guys saw, a lot of nuances. Are you guys using these characters on Alliance Wars or not? Are you using with a specific isolate or not? A lot of things to take into consideration. The characters that I definitely suggest investing in is Star-Lord T'Challa. The other characters only if you are using them in Alliance Wars, or if you have huge red stars and you think somehow they are going to help you on the Doom Raids or Dark Dimension. But yeah, once again, make sure you check out the infographic on my Discord in case you have any questions. There is also a section where you can ask questions and give your feedback. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, like always, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content. And I will catch you guys later.